So now what we'll do, I guess, is we can move into everything surrounding the review, right?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So from here on out, we'll go ahead and be talking about Bliss. This is the Amazon original movie starring Owen Wilson and Selma Hayek, and it's written and directed by Mike Cahill, I think is how you say it. It's Cahill. Now he's not done anything. Well, he's done some TV shows, I think, in the past, but this is his, as far as big directorial film, I think this is his debut from what I've seen. So, but anyways, that's what we're going to be talking about this week. I knew absolutely nothing about this movie.
Same.
Which we honestly, that's what we try and do anyways with the podcast. We try not to know a whole lot. We don't watch trailers, and we try and come in blind. And we've been doing really good about coming in really blind with some of the stuff that we've been doing. This was a random pick, and Matt was like, this sounds weird. Let's do it.
Well, I really picked it because I honestly thought this was a different genre. And I was just like, we've not done this genre.
You thought it was a romance movie.
I thought it was a romance movie, and we've never done a romance movie.
No, we haven't.
So I was like, let's just do it.
Let's bite the bullet.
We'll see what happens.
We'll talk about it when I get into it.
I mean, it skirts around the edges of romance movie.
There's a reason why you thought that.
Sure.
We can continue.
Yeah, so, and this film is actually, according to IMDb, it's considered a drama, romance, sci-fi. So, and I could agree with that. It is sprinkled romance in there.
Yeah, but it wasn't quite what I thought.
This is not your traditional romance movie. We'll put it that way.
No,
the romance
is dead.
Yeah. So, and we have decided that we were, after seeing the film, going to make a quick comment on our opinions of trailers.
Yeah.
And we started seeing the trailers after we watched the movie.
Yeah.
And so I can confirm personally, I would not watch this trailer before seeing this movie.
This trailer ruins the entire goddamn movie.
I completely
Literally.
disagree.
The entire movie is summarized in 3 minutes by this trailer.
You misunderstood the movie then, and I completely disagree. You can watch the trailer, and it does not affect the movie at all.
It shows every scene from the entire movie.
Fact,
it's
but it
like
doesn't show
2
the
seconds
movie.
from every scene, and it literally ruined every little surprise that could possibly be found in this movie.
It did not.
I understand where both of you are coming from. We can talk about it more. I know why Chris is saying what he's saying, but in my personal opinion, I definitely agree with Matt more as far as I would not have wanted to see this trailer.
True, I would not have wanted to watch it either.
But
if you watch it, it won't actually hinder from the overall story of the movie.
For one reason, which is a small reason, but I still feel like it shows way too much.
That's just my problem. It just showed way too much, so that the first half of the movie, when you're questioning things, it just starts ruining it.
And this is the type of movie, personally, where I say, like, my personal opinion is knowing nothing about this film is far more beneficial than knowing anything about this film.
100%.
And to the point, because I mean, it was not 2 minutes into this movie and I was going, what the? And then continued to go, what is this movie?
Oh, Zena was cursing me because I made her watch it, and she was like, I don't want to watch this stupid movie. And then
that was perfect.
I know, right? Good. She doesn't listen to this podcast, so I can get away with that.
That was good. I like it.
But within like 5 minutes, she was hooked,
yeah.
And she was like, "What? Fine, I'll watch it."
Yeah, yeah. It went from like, "Oh my god, Matt, what the fuck is this?" to "Matt, this is amazing."
That was very close to what happened. You must have been there.
I was there. I was actually lingering in the corner, standing very still,
creeping through the blinds.
Did not know I was there. Just creeping around.
Dave Bautista here.
Yep, right. If I don't move, you can't see me. So
facts.
Yeah. So, anyways, what we can do. So what we normally do is we talk about what this movie is like. We work on it, who should and should not see it. And what were you going to say? You're going to
do our scores?
Yeah, I did after who should and shouldn't see it. So we'll kind of give you an idea of what this is like. I actually have like 4 things that I compared this to.
Okay.
So I've got a good idea of probably I can spitball you in a direction of this movie without seeing the trailer. So the things that came to mind, the first one that came to mind was Vanilla Sky. The very first movie that came to mind. And I don't want to say too much more about that, but just Tom Cruise and it's Penelope as well. So clearly this genre is something she likes to play in. Have you ever seen Vanilla Sky?
I don't think so.
You need to see it.
I always think that's the one with Tom Cruise where he pretends to be Spy to Kill Hitler?
No, that's
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
Ah.
Pretty good movie.
I get this
How
mixed
did I
up.
remember that name?
Yeah, I know that was a good pull. You usually never do that. That was really
because
impressive.
my brain.
It's
My brain
unpredictable.
don't work too
No
good.
one knows what it's going to do. So Vanilla Sky was the first one that popped into my head. Also, the recent TV series Upload popped into mind. Actually, in certain, it skirts around it. It's not obviously spot on. It's darker than Upload. I'll put it that way. If you've seen the show Upload, if you haven't seen the show Upload, watch the show Upload. But because we all watched all of it and loved it. And then also actually an interesting one that Chris recommended to me a long time ago and really loved was Charlie Countryman. This movie reminds me a lot of Charlie Countryman,
that movie so
right?
much.
And now that I say it, do you kind of see some parallels with Charlie Countryman, or you might have to go back to Charlie? But certain
Only
things,
a certain portion of
Yes.
it. The overall scope of the story, not at all. But there are portions of it that I can understand.
There are portions of this that reminded me of Charlie Countryman, and the manic nature of this film that it has, and the
Where, but
there's certain things I don't want to say because I'm like wanting to be very careful.
yeah,
Right.
I don't
I'll say it later on.
So, anyways, I don't know if you had anything else, but those were the ones.
To me, this is a sci-fi show called Electric Dreams.
Yeah.
And
Anthology.
it's
You
an
watched
anthology
it?
series.
Yes.
But
Is it anthology? Have I been saying it wrong this whole time?
I think you were saying anthology. It's just anthology. There's no second A.
Yeah, that sounds like your Greek god.
I mean, you can
Anathema.
say- Listen, you can call it whatever you want. No one's going to
Anyways,
judge you. Well,
continue.
the internet will judge you, but we won't.
right,
I'm
we
joking,
won't
man.
judge it. But that's what it reminded me of. It felt like this was a long, like it could have belonged in that season.
Yeah.
Of that show, it felt like it belonged right there.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Yeah. It could
that's what I kept coming back to while I was watching it.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that for sure. So I think all those are pretty much encapsulated. If you've seen all those things, if you like those things, then it's a good spot to
We'll
aim
just
you
skip
in.
over anything I have to say.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't have
didn't
anything
know
to
you-
say.
Oh, I did. I was like, I usually can pick up on if you have something to say.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh,
Only thing that like vaguely comes. It doesn't really, but it just has a familiarity to
yeah.
it.
No, that's actually
It doesn't
a good one.
really like.
It does, but it doesn't. It's because it
Like
rides.
after you watch it, like you'll understand that there's that like mental fuckery that happens.
Yes.
that is very familiar with.
Well, it rides that line very well of like joy and torment
Yeah,
that
True.
Eternal Sunshine does.
Right.
Where it's
Yeah.
like it's this darkness and this light that's constantly.
God, I haven't seen that in forever.
I know. I kind of want to see it again. It's streaming on something. I saw it recently, and I can't remember. I think it was Peacock.
Peacocking.
Oh, Peacocking.
Maybe they'll start paying us. We said
I know, right? We just keep saying it. They will eventually hear us.
Peacock.
Well, you know, I didn't realize this was a thing, but apparently when you do a YouTube video, it actually goes ahead and it subtitles you. So I didn't know that was a thing.
Really?
And I pulled up her video and I was like, holy shit, it's got subtitles.
Yeah.
And it was right. Like, it subtitled us. So apparently that they do that.
Baba Kadoosh.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Right. So it does it. So we'll see if it picked up on all that. Right.
Sorry, I love you, deaf people. Honestly,
Listen, it was to YouTube, not you guys. It
True.
was YouTube.
Facts.
It was to the algorithm, and
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
Take that, AI.
whatever else is listening to us currently and reporting us. After the Jew comment earlier, I'm toast.
Did you say Jew?
Yeah.
He's on a list.
I'm on a list. It's okay.
Gotcha.
So, but that was in the first half. Maybe they won't notice it in this half. Well, no, I just said it. So
Split
we're
it
screwed.
up.
We're screwed.
Two
it off
videos now.
Great.
So, all right. So now, if you don't know, the other portion of how we handle this is we talk about Rotten Tomatoes, and we try and predict what the audience and the critics are going to think. And normally we say, critics suck, so don't listen to them. And more than anything, just Rotten Tomatoes sucks. So, there's that. But so, what do you guys think about what the critics in the audience are going to think about this movie?
I'm going first this time.
Okay,
Do
Chris.
it.
Because
You
I
got it.
always go last
Yeah.
normally. But I feel passionately.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to
Critics?
say critics.
Yes.
86.
Whoo, he's going high.
And I've been right a lot. I'll
have.
probably be wrong this time.
You have been.
Audience, I'll say that most people are dumb, so they're
yes.
going to dislike this movie. So, 62.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'll stick with it. I'll
No,
just
that's good.
say it. I don't want to change anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Matt, what you got?
I think I kind of do the opposite of you. I think critics are going to be 65
Okay.
And audience 75.
Okay. So you're still thinking kind of, well, that's not middle of the road per se.
That's
Little,
high.
little
That's
higher.
a solid,
that's a solid score.
solid turd for sure.
Yeah. And so this is interesting. This movie, I haven't heard anyone talk about this movie. I have not seen a single article. I have not seen a single advertisement. I have not outside. The only reason that I knew that this existed was because I went on the Amazon app.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I saw it. Amazon Video advertised it to me.
Yeah.
Last week, and now it's all I see.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Amazon's pushing it now.
So it makes me wonder, like, are people up on it now, and that's why they're doing it? Like, I like to kind of base some of my stuff on, like, just even the amount of what I've seen about it, because it's like, if nobody's talking about it, then there could be just not a lot of people that have seen it. But
wow, a lot of science into your guess.
Yeah,
I don't
do
want to
you
get
need to
into
get any
science.
like abacuses out?
Listen,
Like,
listen.
figure out the scores here.
So I don't know. I mean, I think you guys are in a fair spot. I'm actually gonna go
Thank you.
lower on both because everyone's stupid. But
Fair point.
I'm gonna go with that. But I don't know. I'm gonna say critics. Like, honestly, not even just stupid. I think this could be a
Not just
stupid.
But continue.
Yes. No, honestly, I could see this really just being like a 50-50 splitter. And the way that Rotten Tomatoes works, I could just see that being the case. So, honestly, I'm just going to say a 55 for audience and critic. I'm just going to right in the middle. Just because I can see there's like certain things about this movie that I can see. I'm not saying personally. I'm just saying in general.
No, I mean, even your last guess,
Yeah.
your guess last week,
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'm going to do the same numbers
Same number.
for both.
I really like doing this same
Let me
number
just
thing. It's working for me.
skirt
This
and
is the
not
first
play
time
it,
it's happened.
No, it is.
I'll
Yeah.
play it safe.
I mean, that's not safe. That's a gamble.
It is a gamble.
It's
I don't like
Very
going that low.
rarely,
Very
rarely are the audience and critics synced up.
If any year, if a year of doing this has taught us anything, it's been that they aren't rarely
literally
the same.
nothing.
I mean,
I know nothing about the critics.
Still cannot figure them out.
Right. So, you guys want to
right.
move on into the movie review?
Yeah.
All right. So, it's going to be spoilers from here on out. We do not do a spoiler-free portion at all. So,
Except for what you just listened to.
except for this, the last little bit. So, outside of that, it's all spoilers.
Yeah.
So, starting now, guys. So, I know what Chris thought about this movie, so I really want to know what Matt thought about this movie.
He's telekinetic.
Yes, I read his brain.
He can move my mind thoughts into his own.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought it was a great movie.
God, it's so good.
Fantastic.
I want to talk about this movie so bad.
This is one of those movies where, well, okay.
No, go ahead.
What
We
did you
can
guys
say
think?
anything.
We're
Okay,
at
no,
that
we're good.
point.
We're with
Okay.
you.
I just, like, the whole time, I was just sitting there, like, what's next? What's going to happen next? Like, and I was looking in the backgrounds, and they did things in the backgrounds, and I
know.
love when they do that.
Yeah,
and
it's
I was like,
trippy
Zena,
as
did
shit.
you just see that? And she's like, what are you talking
I know,
about?
Sid said the same
And I was
thing.
like, we'll go back. And then after we finished the movie, we literally went back. I was like, look here,
That's
look
awesome.
there, look that. I wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
These are things in the background.
You're like, that person just duplicated
Triplicated.
or triplicated the same
Yep.
person just keeps appearing. Like, oh, man, all that shit, I loved it.
I did too. And just the whole time, like, Zena and I were like, is this real? Is that real? What is reality?
100%. Like, this movie, it ended and I was like, I want to talk about this right now.
Yeah.
And I got to.
dude.
And you got to because you forgot to watch it until 2 hours ago. Yeah. It's just, I wanted to talk about it so bad. Like, I love this movie. It's just, and I mean, the end we can get to later is difficult, but I still love it. Like, even with it having the end that it has. But honestly, we'll get to it later. But it's just, all in all,
Later is now.
Yeah.
He means a little bit. like
I
5
know we
minutes.
have a bad habit of jumping to the very end of a movie at the very start of a
Most
review.
of the time, it's the most interesting portion.
But see, not with this movie, though. I would argue
Agreed.
that
No,
this movie
yeah.
has multiple high points, and
Yeah.
they just did so many cool things. So, like, the first thing I picked up on was that everything was gray. You know? Like, everything was just gray.
And a bit grainy.
And grainy.
Yeah.
Well, in the portions that were quote unquote in the simulation. So, yeah.
Man, I wish I would have said this earlier, but this is literally a movie that I would say do not listen to this podcast before watching it.
I completely
because
agree.
going into it blind is, and I don't feel like at this point we haven't said too
Well,
much.
it's
We
a
can
treasure
put that in
to
the
go
notes and
blind.
stuff.
Like I don't care if this hurts
Don't
our,
watch the trailer.
our listeners
Yeah.
viewing whatever, like watch this movie first.
Yeah.
So I hit this. Is
Nope,
the sound
it's
bad?
not
this
even
week?
picking it up, man.
Yeah, because it wasn't me last
We got a
time.
bouncy mic stand.
But okay, but honestly, like going into this blind or not knowing anything about it, just synonyms, essentially the same thing, is the best way to watch this movie. Like it's exemplified in knowing nothing.
Yes.
Because it really triggers your mind into spoilers. Stop listening now. But like this movie is heartbreaking. Like it reaches into my soul and just like captivated me and broke me.
Yeah.
Because it does such a great job at helping people understand the actual mental state of people with addictions.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it took me from like it literally changed my perspective of understanding people with drug addictions or any addictions in general.
And
but
very
this
much
is
honed in on drug addiction. For sure.
Specifical is not a word.
It's okay.
But
You're doing the word
specifically
thing.
to drug addiction, like it helps bring to the forefront of your mind what they're actually going through. Like it's not just something so simple as being like, oh, I'm addicted to drugs and like that's a thing. It's like it literally altered the perspective of reality for these people to where like they are questioning what is reality and what isn't. Like,
dude, there was a line. I'm sorry, it's
ridiculous.
right at the end that broke my fucking heart in half. Is when he is sitting when he finally goes to rehab.
AA,
or whatever. It wasn't AA, but whatever.
It was
the
rehab.
rehab.
Yeah, rehab.
And he says, "There is a woman who says that she's my daughter." And I believe her. That still just gave me cold chills saying it. Like he said it, and it broke my heart. It's just like that is a thing. Like this person exists in my life. They keep showing up, and they say that they're this person, and I don't know.
right.
But like I want to believe this person.
Yeah.
And like that is just like, and they saved it for the end, and you know they tease this as to what is going on. You know the whole thing is, and as we've seen with the trailer now that we watched it after the movie is. The trailer paints it as like this is we're living in a simulation.
Yeah,
this is
it's
the
more
Matrix.
like a Matrix kind of
this
deal.
is the Matrix. And I mean simulation theories become so popular now, and I understand why they would paint it that way. They still showed way too much, but
But they did a good job of distracting
from the drug aspect,
populace from the actual story of
the addiction.
Yeah, the narrative of what they're trying to tell.
You guys watched a different movie. Bliss was real.
Yo, you finished it definitely. Like it was clear that the other world, the bright, shiny world, was the real world.
Was the real one? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say he did such a good job of making like the real. Well, no, what I say is the real world, the grainy world.
Yeah.
Our world looked so shitty. He did such a good job that I stopped the movie because I was like, did I watch the wrong version? I thought I picked the 4K UHD like high quality version of this movie. Why is it still look so shitty? And then when he gets to like the Bliss world, it's gorgeous. And I was like, oh, nope. Okay, I watched the right version. Definitely. Like it looks fantastic now. He intentionally made it look not great.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I love this movie. Like,
I do too.
It's not a movie that you watch for entertainment. It's like a heartstring pulling, like awakening movie for awakening your understanding to how like addiction affects people. In my mind, it's more of like a documentary biography kind of movie than it is just like a pure drama. Like I know in the trailer that was another thing. It was sort of like. They even recommend it or in the synopsis, rather, they say that it is a romance movie. It's like, oh, he's finding love with this woman who like is from a different alternate reality, and it's like, no, like he's falling in love with a drug dealer that has got him addicted to, and it's like leading him down this path, and it's just like, I feel that's why I am complimenting the trailer and the synopsis in this is because. Yes, they show a lot of the movie, but they don't expose the heart of it.
They don't talk about the drugs in the trailer.
Yeah, they don't. It's still.
I mean, I agree with that, but like if you watch the trailer, it shows the entire movie. So what always my beef with trailers is that they literally showed all of the surprises,
right?
Like the brain box and all that. Like if you were just watching this movie fresh. you don't know any of that. You watch the trailer, you're like, okay, well, there's a bright and shiny world somewhere, and there's a brain box somewhere that I'm going to see soon.
Well, I don't want to see the other side of the simulation. Like, I don't want to see what the Bliss side of the things are. Like, I don't want to know that. Like, I was so surprised when she shows up and she's like, look at these weird things I can do. Yeah. I have these powers. And
yeah, I can make things happen. Like, I've got magic powers because this isn't real.
Great. And it makes me wonder, it's almost like I want to see the movie where you see what's really going on with the two of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on in these people's real world? What are they doing?
Right.
And, you know, there's the portion where there's like...
You just want to watch people shooting up heroin.
I guess.
Let me give you a street
address.
Yeah. It's Tryon and 11th Street.
You're still saying this is... I still think this is a sci-fi movie.
I mean, it very much is.
I very much think this is real. Because there were
Oh, you
glitches.
think it's real? No, I don't think it's real.
Oh, see, I think it is real because there's too many glitches in the grainy world.
He was on drugs the whole time.
But he didn't see these things. Like, his wallet glitches on the table when he leaves it there.
After
he did a line.
But he walks out of the room, and then it glitches.
No.
He is out of the room, and it glitches, and they're showing that. And then, like, the people triplicating off in the distance. Like, why would he see that? That was not something he was looking at.
Again, this is where I'm getting giant kudos to people who created this movie because, and the same thing with the trailers where they're giving the perception of what this movie is about. And in my opinion, obviously that it might be flawed, but in my opinion, this movie is 100% about drug addiction and its effect on people.
I agree.
Yeah.
And they're leading people down the path to believe it's something else, which is why the trailer and the synopsis are great, in my opinion, even though it shows every aspect of the movie.
Yeah.
But it is so great because it's misleading people to be like, this is a movie about sci-fi. Like, there's a dream world that we're living in a simulation. It's like, that has nothing to do with this movie. Like, it's literally explaining the mindset of people in mental addictions or not mental, but like addictions with drugs specifically, to where like that's their literal perspective of like, if somebody is addicted to drugs, it's not just like what I was talking to Blaine earlier, like it's not just like, oh, I'm addicted to drugs and like, oh, and now I'm not high anymore and I realize I'm fine. Like that was bad for my health. And it was literally like, these drugs affects people's reality, that their perspectives of everything that's going on, to where he's literally questioning, like, she says she's my daughter and I want to believe her. To where, like, he is so convinced that the drugs that he is on that's the reality.
Yeah. That
he has fucking rejected his entire life, his child, like the people that he loves the most. Like he literally in that, even in the trailer, he's like, he picks up the phone and he's like, hello, my love. Like his daughter is his life. Like that is his soul. That's his one connector to everything that's real. And he even gives that up because the drugs are so controlling over him.
They're so well. And I mean, if you think about it, it's like from the perspective that we have, is like, if the bliss is so good, if it's so pure, if it shows you this world that is so perfect outside of your own, it would take so much to rip you out of that and make you decide that like this ugly world is the one that you want, not this perfect place that you get to live in and just pass out and do fuck all, you know, like, and just, you know, being just lay there and be on these drugs and think you have freaking powers and everything else. Like, you know, it's like that world is more enticing. Yeah. And that's why I'm with Chris, where I don't think that the Bliss world was real. I think that he was an addict. Like, I think that the more and more I thought about it, I'm like, because it was for a little bit there, I was like, maybe, and I was like, but it just didn't make a whole lot of sense that, like, with her brain box and all that, that she created and her invention, that it would bleed into reality and destroy reality. That didn't really make sense to me. I was like, I don't see how
he was just coming down off of his drugs.
Exactly.
And that's why she was so adamant about, like, no, we have to go back in.
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to spend one more day. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
But then shit happened that she knew would happen.
Exactly. Well, and it's like, and how she kept handling it, where it's like, well, then why is it that when she is in this other world, she acts like the biggest crackhead on the planet? Like, just absolutely unhinged. She's shooting one of her quote-unquote patients, like, which is just all of the, like, patients or, like, the people in the test are people that they've encountered in their drug fueled state.
They're volunteers in her.
Her volunteers,
her
right? It's like she shoots this dude and kills him.
Yeah.
Like she's they knock out and rob the guy in the car. They're doing all these very reckless things, and it's like, if she was the scientist, why is it that the second that she leaves that world that she's so reckless in this other one?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they explained that because it's not real. That's what I mean. She kept saying it was this isn't real. So
she did, but it's just like.
But then even towards the end, she starts breaking down.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know what's real because she's like, "Oh, I'm going to shoot this person and kill them."
Yeah, she was so unstable.
And he was like, "You just killed somebody. What do you mean you don't know?" And she's like, "I don't know. I don't know what's real and what's not."
Yeah.
Because he was just like, "You take the drugs, you kill me, and we'll both be back in the bliss." And she's like, What if it doesn't work? I'm not sure. Like, it's that me personally, in my limited experience with people with like drug addiction, with these kind of drugs, like it fits very well. Like it does an excellent job of describing the situation that they're in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I love it.
We've had a little more time to marinate on it too. You just finished it, like,
right.
And we did actually talk about it a tiny bit, not a whole lot. We broke the rule, but we did.
It was me. Blaine didn't do anything wrong. I blamed.
He volunteered.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll let him take the blame, but no, I joined in and said, no, I really want to talk about this because I love it so much.
It's such a good movie.
It is fantastic.
It is really good.
But for me, honestly, it is fantastic in both elements. Like, it is fantastic as a look at this. This is what addiction can cause, like drug addiction can cause. This is the byproduct, whatever. And it is still just awesome as like a crazy mindfuck sci-fi alternate reality.
I mean,
all
both
of
them,
like, in two aspects,
or the fact that you can interpret it either way,
for sure. Because they really, in a way, they don't tell you. Like, they don't just look you right in the eyes and say this. Yeah, it is.
Because like they still leave it as like oh, this could be real.
Yeah.
But that, in my mind, I see that as this is literally how people with drug addictions feel.
Right.
Of like, oh, like it could be real. Like, okay, so you're going to, not AA, but whatever addiction therapy group that it is, you're getting help done. But could be real.
It could be, all these things you experience and you remember.
And that's the actual feeling that they have. And that's the same thing where he's going through of like, she says she's my daughter and I believe her. Like, he's actually having to take active steps to be like, I am actively believing this person.
Sure.
If it was up to me, like, I've seen the bliss. Like, I know it's not real. Like, I've seen the other side. And the bliss is such an allegory to like what chasing the high is, from my understanding. Again, I'm not a drug addict. I haven't done any hard drugs, but from what my understanding of it is, it is very parallel to that of like, it's what they're talking about in the brain box within the bliss world, where she's saying that like people are, they get so comfortable in the world that they're in, and so they have to be reminded of the bad in order to appreciate the good. I love
that concept. Like, it's
right. It is a cool concept.
And they actually spoil that in the trailer too. I was just like, what the fuck? Why would you say that? Like, I loved that in the trailer of like the concept of if like what Matt was talking about, like if these two realities were real, like if you were to create, because the whole thing is in this bliss version of the world, it's that the world is perfect, right?
Right.
And it's like, you almost would need to be like, you're an ungrateful shit. You need to know what it was like when it sucked here.
Yeah.
Like, and for her to be creating that is fascinating.
Right. But it's an, I think allegory is the right name for it, but it's like, it's a synonym, but an anonym at the same time, where like drug addicts are doing the same thing, to where they're continuously chasing the dragon. They're trying to get the high that they got from the first time they got it, to where they're trying to break free. So it's like a mirrored reaction to living in the bliss and living in perfection and trying to get, or gaining respect for what you have, or understanding for what you have.
Yeah.
So it's like a mirrored perspective of drug addiction, of where they're constantly living in shit, but they're always trying to get to that higher place of where they were when they first did meth or whatever drug it is, and they're just like
that perfection.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. It's just, for me, it was like a very, I say relatable, but I mean like an understandable cohesion of like, a mirrored perspective for drug addiction of like, I don't know. I loved it. I feel like it was just like super brilliant. Everything they did with it, from even the synopsis, the trailer, to the like, everything about it was just so brilliantly done. Not to say that it's a perfect movie, but like the way that they portray it was so well done.
Even,
to
think
lead
about
to
this
the story.
Like with both aspects of what y'all are talking about. There's a point where they're in a roller skating rink and they're using their powers and they're just being dickheads.
Right.
And they're just like fucking everybody up inside this roller rink. And after it ends, they walk out and they're just like, oh, we're just using our powers up in here. And they're both standing on the side of the road, and he looks and he sees himself riding in a cop car. And then he's looking out of the cop car and he sees two old people standing there. And
Homeless
it's like,
people.
So homeless people. Yeah. And so for me, it was like, that was like the moment of them showing you, like, potentially that like they did these things. Like, he's really going to jail.
Right.
He's not like, and then for them to just think that they got out of jail scot-free, like, I gave them a fake name, like, how dumb are they, whatever. But you don't see them when they're dealing with the cops. Like, it's like they just phase that out. It's just it's
a gone thought.
They're stealing clothes out of the roller skating ring. And escaping.
Yeah. Exactly. Like those little touches, there were so many little touches, and like the this is kind of a jump too, but like to where he's supposed to be the scientist and in the Bliss world, and he created the visualizer. All the art and everything of the visualizer, and just the concept that like there's this machine that when you think something, it visualizes it on a machine and animates it. And I probably just broke Matt's mouse over breaking my mouse last week.
How many mouses do you have? Mine?
This is mine.
This is Matt's. This is Matt's meese. So no, it's intact. Unlike mine was last week, which blew into like 1,000 pieces. We will have a better system come next week, so...
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't hold us to that.
Yeah, do not do that either. But yeah, so anyways, just the concept of the visualizer and all that I thought was fascinating too. It's so cool.
Which that plays into the whole thing of why I like it. For me personally, I know that this is just a play on drug addiction. Where it's not like the bliss is actually real. Like, it's those things, those little things that they throw in there, like whenever they're in the roller skating ring and they're just fucking with people with their mental powers, and it turns out they're actually just literally assaulting people, and they get arrested for it. And it's not like he snaps back into reality. Oops, there goes gravity. Mom's spaghetti on my shoulder.
Of course.
Sweater, whatever.
Sweater, shoulder.
No, but I mean, like, literally, he'll have his lapses of where reality is what the drugs are wanting him to see. And then there's things that snap him back into it.
Yeah.
And it I don't know, it's just, again, I'm not a drug addict and I haven't lived that life or even experienced it secondhand.
Sure.
But like the way that they projected it in this movie just resonated with me so well, to where it's much more understandable of how it can happen, to where it's like it's not just, I don't know, like, for me personally, I can't speak for anybody else, but like drug addiction always seemed like such a far away concept of like, oh, how could you like go into this and not know
you're
that,
like a bum living under a bridge.
Yeah,
right,
like,
and you're okay
don't
with
you
it.
know that like you're a bum living under a bridge?
Like, no,
but
actually,
like,
I don't. Like,
no,
this
like,
is a nice little life that I have here where
this is my palace.
And I have magic powers.
Yeah, altering your entire perspective of reality.
Right. And actually,
so it's so wild. I don't know. It breaks my heart, and I love it in the worst way. Like, it hurts me to watch this movie, and I can't watch it a second time.
I would watch it again for sure. I love it so much.
A year.
Yeah, I probably would too.
Yeah.
In a year, I could watch it again, but it's just like my soul has to heal a little bit from it.
I know,
but
what
it's
you mean.
just it's a fantastic movie.
It is.
I love it.
Matt, so now that you've heard us talk about it a little more, and I know you're very recently out of this, are you shifting a little bit, or do you still think...
I guess, but that takes me out of the movie, I guess. That like makes me...
It disappoints you a little bit that if it wasn't real?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely still a very good movie, and it does make a little more sense, because like one of my complaints was that why would you make your exit from the fake world that you had to have 10
more drugs?
Well,
that you had to have like
possibly
that you kept saying they were harder to find.
Yeah,
like you'd make an eject button,
and they can't make them in their super high tech world. Or he was like, "Can't you make them here?" And she was like, "No, we don't have the technology or something."
Yeah.
Like they have hologram people walking around, but they can't make blue crystal.
Brains in a jar that you're jacking into,
right.
and like Owen Wilson's like brain noodles are coming out of his nose.
Right.
But you
like,
can't
find
make
a way
blue
to
crystals.
like, eject us after 5 minutes.
Like
so.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of those type of things where you're just like, there's things that don't quite make sense about that world. But then it's like when you take all of that away and you just look at it from the aspect that Chris is talking about, you're like, this all makes a lot more sense.
She's literally trying to sell him a world of drug addiction, and and he bought into it 100%.
Well, I mean, it starts with when she slips him, because like in the very
she
beginning,
slips him his first drug,
right?
And that's when he has his powers.
When he starts having powers,
and that's a good point. I'd actually forgotten about that.
Yeah,
and how quickly he went into. She was just like, "Yeah, you need to go get this necklace. It's got special crystals in it." Mm-hmm. And the dude's dead.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say he's passed out. But
he's passed out. It's the same dude that you see later.
Yeah, because it is the same guy that makes her the drugs later. And he's like, oh, he's cute. You know, who's this one? Is he real?
Yeah.
Like, that guy was the same guy, actually. So he was past...
That she ends up killing with the gun?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Which is also kind of weird, because it's like he's... Well, actually, that would make sense if he's working in the plant. Well, if he's working in the plant where he's getting the stuff to make the chemicals... however he's making this drug,
right?
He's actually just someone that works in because this. So did you guys notice also to talk about like just there's so many details in this movie, like the little diamonds that were drawn all over like
all over
places.
the place, like his pictures all had them on there.
Mm-hmm. It was like what was representative of this new drug.
Yeah.
God, it's just fascinating. Like it's so good. It's so well made. Like, and I'm just really worried that people aren't going to like this movie. Like,
I fucking love this movie.
Yeah,
like it is.
Oh, I watched
really
it and was
good.
instantly like, I feel like we're all three gonna really dig this, and I almost kind of hate that we don't have someone like another perspective of someone that didn't like it, like just to have it. But like the thing is like Sydney watched it with me, she liked it. I'm guessing Xena really liked it.
Yeah,
like it just
I'm curious to find somebody that didn't like it.
Like, what are you gonna like about?
What would you dislike?
Talk to me halfway through this movie, or even earlier than that, because like within the first 10 minutes of the movie, it was all with him in his office.
Yeah,
gave me so much anxiety. Like
it's made to. It gave me anxiety. It gave Xena anxiety, and it shows why he went off the rails and started doing these drugs and wanted to go live under a bridge.
Yeah,
because corporate America sucks.
And that just added to how good the movie was made. Of like it exemplified that feeling of what they're trying to give you of like this is the feeling of dude, I can't think of his name. Owen Wilson. Like this is the feeling of his character, what he's going through. Is like you have all this anxiety. You just got fired from your job.
You might have been here like at this point.
Yeah, like I feel like whenever they did the scene transition, whenever he crushed up the pills, snorted it zooms in on the rehab building and then zooms back out. Like from that point on, its reality is within his brain. It's not actual reality.
How he's perceiving
everything has changed because it does this weird like thing.
Yeah. I think so too. It's like he runs that line and then it's just like he's in garbled, he's messed up now. And the interesting thing is it makes me wonder which I will say, what he did with his boss was fascinating. It was the most brilliant, murder hiding moment ever. Like, I was just like, this is brilliant. He just hangs the dude up there at the window, and he's like, when he snaps and just hits him. But it's like, it makes me wonder at that point when he's like, hey, the boss comes up to him and he's like, hey, are you hearing me? At that point is kind of where the transition break is in his mind. Right. Towards that's the point where he kind of blacks out. He didn't hit him. He didn't hide his body.
Oh, I think he just got up and left.
Yeah, he just walked out of the
obviously you see towards the end of the movie where he's like, why are you alive?
Yeah.
I saw you fall out the window. Yeah. So obviously the dude lived.
Yeah.
Whatever happened after that,
who knows?
fucking Xanax is to blame.
Yeah. And that is the thing. They really did set it up in the beginning, showing like he was some bit of an addict before this started.
Yeah.
You know, because he's calling the drugstore and he's like, I've gotten this prescription 6 different times. Why do I have to come in?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's like, the initial fill is a refill.
Yeah. And then she slips him the drugs, which we haven't talked like. What were you gonna say?
Oh, well, even the conversation he has with his daughter, which is heartbreaking, where he's like, oh, my back's okay, but my arm is feeling bad, and it's like that is like the wordage that addicts are gonna give you. Is like, oh yeah, I'm in pain, well, it's not this one this time, but I gotta go get more Xanax.
Right.
Like,
exactly, I gotta get the other
my
drug.
Shoulder, and next week, it's my knees hurting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like there's always something else.
And
that
the
it's
son
like,
says that, and at first it didn't trigger to me what he was getting at.
Yeah.
But that is totally what it was. He's just constantly making up excuses to get more drugs because he's always drugged up, and that's why he's not with mom anymore, and
that's why he's got a dead end job.
Yep.
Yeah,
apologizing to people.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, and we haven't really talked about it a lot, but I will say too, it's like both of their acting in this movie was fantastic.
Oh yeah,
they were both great.
100%.
So love them both.
It is great, but I judged it super hard at the beginning.
Really?
Whenever I thought it was an actual sci-fi movie, I was like, God, this movie, they're like, the acting is so bad.
Really?
But whenever I realized that it is a drug addiction based movie, and that's the characters that they were based off of,
you're viewing
then
it through a different
lens. They were fantastic in their acting. Like, but if it were not a movie based off of drug addicts, and it was an actual like, this is Bliss, we're living in a simulation kind of a movie, I would have thought it was terrible. But like,
interesting.
But they did a great job of playing the parts of addicts.
Yeah.
So in that point, that's where I like, maybe that's what you're talking about, but that's where I may differ of like,
interesting.
They did a terrific job of acting as addicts.
Okay.
But if it were outside of that, it would have felt terrible.
I didn't pick up on that. I thought they were great either way.
I thought they were good.
Either way, but I mean, it's just, and I haven't seen her anything in a while, but it did just remind me, like,
she looks so different.
She does, which it made me want to watch Vanilla Sky again. Like, it just such a good movie, and it's so trippy and crazy and out there, and just a very, it kind of fits in this category of film, especially like if you haven't seen it and you like this, especially watch Vanilla Sky. Like, it's
Requiem for a Dream. That was the other one.
No, I can't watch that movie. Makes me want to shoot myself. Like, that movie messed me up worse than I intentionally blacked out probably 75% of that movie. It messed me up so bad. And I watched it in like high school, and I was just like, I'm scarred. I can't come back from this.
It's Robin Williams. Like,
was
of all
he in
people.
That? I don't even remember.
Pretty sure that was.
I just remember one of the Waynes being in it. Wayne's brothers being in it.
For the Dream. I think it was
Robin
Williams.
Or am I?
Oh no!
Are you not thinking of Death to Smoochie?
No. The one where he goes to hell to save his dead wife. Is that not Requiem for a Dream?
That was not. No, Requiem for a Dream was a drug movie, but it was whacked out. That was Jared Leto too in that.
What movie am I
Jennifer
thinking
Connelly,
of?
Jared Leto.
I don't know what you're thinking of. Oh. What Dreams May Come. That is a fantastic movie.
That's what it is.
That is a very good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. I get what you're getting at with that one, though.
Titles, but
no.
yeah.
Requiem for a Dream is a nightmare factory. Have you ever seen it, Matt?
I feel like I have.
Just don't watch it.
I think Xena and I watched it a couple years ago.
Dude, it messed me up, man. For real. I shouldn't have watched it in high school, but like, it messed me up.
We did watch it. That's right. It's coming back to me now.
It was dark.
It is dark, yeah.
It just, that was one of the early, outside of like Fight Club with Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Seeing him in something. But anyways, I guess y'all want to go on and...
Yeah, let's look at the scores.
Okay. Chris, you gonna be okay? It seems like
I can hold it.
Yeah, can you hold it? We don't have a whole lot more.
I got a tiny bladder.
Yeah, well, we've been going for a
good bit, we're coming in on 2 hours, so...
Yeah.
Let's do it. What's the scores?
Yeah. All right, so let's check out the Rotten Tomatoes scores for
I'm
this.
gonna win again.
You think so?
I don't know. This could be one of those movies. It's hard to tell.
I'm fairly pretentious and, fit in with the critics.
So, this is going to be really interesting. I got a tiny spoiler there. I'm sorry, you aren't ready for this.
That's what she
You
said.
ready? You ready?
Are you ready for this?
Oh my God.
Okay.
This is one of the roughest. This movie has a 29 on Rotten Tomatoes.
By critics.
By critics. A 29. God. And it was more middle of the road by the audience, but it barely has over 100 people. But it was a 41. So I won both. I'm just going to say that first off.
Yeah. Hedging bets over there.
But the fact that this has a 29 by critics, even 79 people.
Crazy.
Like, dude. What the hell?
What? Did we watch a different movie?
Dude.
They are shallow as fuck.
Right?
Is what that is.
Well, even on a shallow level.
Dude,
like...
I have never seen... Okay, so we read the critics' consensus every week, which is what they decide the critics collectively think about the movie. They just make up a sentence or three.
Who does that?
I don't know. Rotten Tomatoes.
Somebody Rotten Tomatoes like, all right, we read all 20.
Mr. Tomato.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is literally the shortest one I've ever seen. It just says, when it comes to building an entertaining sci-fi drama around some cool ideas, this Bliss is largely ignorant.
Yeah, that's somebody who watched the trailer and believed that was exactly what they were getting.
It was a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Like just a hardcore nothing.
They couldn't accept the depth of the story that they were actually watching, and that the trailer was meant to distract you. Yeah. And put your mind off kilter for watching this. Maybe I'm reading way too deep into this movie. I don't know, but I fucking love it, and like the way that it talked to me, communicated with me.
I even thought all the sci-fi shit was cool.
Right.
Like,
well, even on just a sci-fi level, it was a cool movie.
It was cool.
With, like, I mean, the concept's been done about like you're talking about simulations, but it was still like a cool run on it.
Yeah, I thought it was rad. Like what? Like, okay, so we will read some of these, and I want to know, like, if anybody listens to this, like, what other people's opinion is.
Yeah, if anybody's watching this, and
like, which, and I will say that at least the audience was a little closer to 50%, which is just half people do and half people don't. Yeah. Like, I could see there being people that don't like this if they are undecided about what this is actually about.
Yeah.
If they felt like they weren't given an answer. Or if they just really wanted it to not be about addiction and wanted this sci-fi world to be real. Because it's like, if you really want a super buttoned-up happy ending, you don't want there to be any part of you that could think that this wasn't like that, you know, the sci-fi world wasn't real.
Yeah. Which we didn't even talk about the ending, really. But, like,
no,
they kind of confirm that the bliss is not real, which they never did.
It's all about perspective and how you look at that. But
because you never know, she could have left reality.
Yeah, they didn't mention
what happens to her.
Totally respect, like, all of these decisions.
Even if she died, like, even if she, like, it showed her, like, shooting up her nose and, like, her like fainting on the floor, that wouldn't necessarily confirm, because they never ever said that, like, your body leaves this world.
Yeah, well, she shot dude and was like, yeah, no, if he dies in this world, he just wakes up in the other.
Right, so you would never know if they showed that.
Yeah. God, this is wild. I want to see, so let's see what these pretentious D-bags had to say. All right, so I'm scrolling down here. So IndieWire says, even the worst simulation would have more clarity than this. Life might be messy and weird and scary, but it possesses more honesty than the cinematic misery. Like,
fuck you. Right. You have no idea what you're talking about.
100%. Like, Katie doesn't know what she's talking about. Her and IndieWire just need to get out of here. Like, that is just so brutal.
Yeah.
It's like so harsh.
Ignorant perspective.
It is very ignorant
about this. Like,
I don't even know how to go any more into depth than that, besides just say, like,
if you don't understand what the movie's about, then you, like, your judgment of it is, well, from my understanding of the movie, obviously other people might have different perspectives on it, but
like, you're pretty convincing.
This is this is 100% a movie about drug addiction and how it can completely take over somebody's perspective.
Yeah,
in every aspect, where it completely changes their concept of the world, to where they can even reject their own children, the love of their lives, their entire heart. Like, it's that powerful. I don't know. Anyways, I've preached so much about this movie. I love it.
I know
so much. So any of these things with 29% bullshit. Like,
I feel like Guns Akimbo got skewered also.
It did, and Guns Akimbo was pretty dope. I mean, and we all know that Chris loved that as
to
well.
even put
Loved
this
it
in
so
the
much.
same concept.
I'm just saying, I feel you, man.
We know how you feel is all we're saying. We know how you feel.
You're making me out to be Katie in this situation.
Yes. I mean,
when it comes to Guns Akimbo.
Listen, some people are Karen, some people are Katie's, and you might.
I'm a Katie.
All right, so another splat here. Here's somebody from NPR, which is guaranteed to be a D-bag. So
you think they would like this,
said,
though?
No, they're too. I don't know.
What?
So
Is that
Amy
words?
here, no, it wasn't. Amy here says it's basically just explaining the rules of this world over and over again for what feels like an hour while taking the emotions of the characters for granted.
Again, people are not understanding the...
Well, I think that's really what's going to come down to is that they're not perceiving it as drugs.
How do you not? Like, I literally knew... Not. I mean, this sounds like very pretentious, so I'm not even going to say it, but like...
I'm just saying, I just think that's how they're perceiving it.
I think some of these people aren't perceiving it like you and I are, Chris, which I think was how it was intended to be perceived personally. Like,
and I'm sure it is. I'm sure, like, if the director does an interview on it or something like that, and talks about like the meaning, or I don't know if there's like Owen Wilson or what's her name,
Salma,
out there
Salmonella,
doing interviews about like what it's about. I bet that's what they're gonna say.
Yeah, I would think.
And obviously, we don't look for that stuff.
Even like, here's somebody from Real Views. He says, and then this is another splat. It says, with his blend of existential science fiction and character-based romance, it would seem to be a close to a can't-miss premise as one can imagine yet. Despite that, it somehow does miss, and by a wide margin. And so I feel like they're focusing on the sci-fi aspect, and they're not seeing the other.
You know what they're focusing on? They're focusing on the synopsis and the trailer.
And the trailer,
which is literally what they're trying to sell in both of those things, where it's like, this is a simulation and it's a love story. Like, literally, they say that in both of the things, where it's like, this is a love story in a sci-fi world where we don't know what reality is. And it's like, that's literally just a perspective to throw you off so you're not
expecting what you're going to get.
Being like, this is a documentary about drug addicts, which is literally what they could have made it about. It'd been like, if they said that in the trailer, nobody would want to watch it. Like, because that's super fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But like, that's literally what this movie is. It's like, this is a biography / documentary about drug addicts.
Yeah.
But you can't say that, so you have to like set people up, and that's what they're focusing on because they're dum-dums. No offense or offense, I don't know. Either one.
Just take the offense.
But it's like, if you're taking it for just what you, or the expectation you got from it from reading the synopsis or watching the trailer, you're a dum-dum.
Do any of the solids talk about drugs?
So I was looking here. I don't see which, and we're a bit limited. So none of the top critics, quote unquote, like enjoyed this movie. None of them gave it. None of the top critics gave it a solid tomato. Now I see one here that gave it a 4 out of 5 on his scale. This is Chris Edwards with One Room with a View, and
it's a good name.
Yeah, right. Oh, Chris, you know. There aren't a whole lot of those. No one knows any Chris's. So he said, in the hands of a capable star like Wilson, Cahill's experiment with more mainstream fare retains the director's creativity and vision and adds a significant entertainment factor. And I agree with that. Like, he doesn't fully say anything about the drug concept, but he's basically saying, like, this guy had a vision, and he still made it entertaining because he did. This movie's fascinating. It's really beautiful to watch, and it's entertaining, and it's fun, but it's also about something dark as shit.
Right.
So, like, I think that, and he was a 4 out of 5. Like, I feel like if we were to talk to this guy, he'd be right there with us.
Probably.
I would assume.
And even, like, the cinematography that goes into it, I don't know if y'all noticed it throughout the movie, to where, like, in so many scenes where they had off-center of the shot was the New Hope like
I think if
rehab
I went back and
center.
rewatched it, I might
Like,
notice it more. I
there
only
was
noticed it like twice.
so many. There was a lot of shots to where like it was a flyer, it was a news article, it was a sign in the background, a billboard. Like
there was so much hidden in this movie.
So many things to where like if you like looked in the background, where it was just like rehab, like over and over.
Yeah.
again.
And they even you know, at the point where he's coming to and there's like riots going on or something, and you see that, they even alluded to that the daughter was like, there was clearly going to be an event that was like a protest.
There was a cop with her, and she was an image at the time.
Yeah.
In his mind, she was like a hologram.
Yeah. And it was alluding to the fact that she was going to go to this protest kind of deal, and it would explain why she saw him, and they got trapped there, and he was escaping that, and it was just like there were so many hidden things. It was just really neat. So there's one other solid tomato I'll read here. It's a 3 out of 5. There's really not a whole lot. Like there's a 7.5 out of 10 here. Here's Kate Sanchez. I can go ahead and read hers. She said Bliss is going to be a hit or miss for audiences. And doesn't exactly execute what the trailer promises, but the film is one that will land with those who can feel the emotions lying under its surface. And she makes a point, like, the trailer kind of fucks this up. Like, if you go...
In the best way.
I mean, in the best way for some people.
You say that's the best way, though, but that's the thing is, if you watch the trailer and you're like, this is a sci-fi movie, and you go to watch it and you think it's a sci-fi movie,
Sure.
and you're
like, this isn't a sci-fi movie, then you're going to be pissed.
Right, which is why I recommended still don't watch the trailer.
Well, and also, it's like you're going in and you're like, Selma Hayek? Owen Wilson? These people do funny movies and lighthearted romps. Like... And then they get this, and they're just like, "Oh God!" like
she's addicted to heroin. What?
So, I mean, I do kind of get that, where I'm like, "But how do you advertise this otherwise?" You know, it's like,
exactly.
What approach do you take?
Yeah.
So
you can't just be like, "This is a story about drug addicts." Figuring out that they're addicted to drugs.
Yeah,
like,
and it's not.
How do you
exactly
sell that story to people?
Sure.
I'm not saying that like deceiving people is a good marketing scheme, but like it works if you appreciate the kind of movie that it is.
Yeah. And I will say I did greatly appreciate that we still did get some bit of a kind of a happy ending. Like, regardless of
100%.
what you think, like the fact that it didn't just end with him even just going into rehab. He met his daughter. He said, like, "Hey, I'm here."
Oh my God! And her response is the
so
most
sweet.
heartbreaking thing. She's like, he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm late," and she's like, "You're not late. You're here."
Yeah. There was
like,
God.
I fucking started crying. I want to start crying right
I know,
now.
it is. It's just like
thinking
so
about
gut wrenching. Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
I really want to know what other people think about this. And
please comment if you've watched it and are not a critic.
Other people that aren't critics.
Okay,
we don't want to know what they think.
And as we've even said with our opinion on the audience reviews here on Rotten Tomatoes, is like that is also a certain type of person to take the energy to go on this site to then give your review. Like, it's still honing in on this very specific type of person that's going to do that. Because I mean, even with all three of us loving film and like movies and whatever, none of us have ever done that. Like, we've never been like, I'm going to go on Rotten Tomatoes and let people know what I think. Like,
I'm going to literally wait until I have 100 reviews.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to review things.
We almost did it for Guns Akimbo because we could raise the score though because like 5 people saw it.
Yeah, we could have been.
We would have been 40%.
We could have changed history, is what we could have done. We could have changed history.
Well, y'all would have tried, but
you would have only slightly offset us.
Yeah.
Hey.
He's not going to go to those lengths. He won't go to those lengths.
Oh yeah, no,
he won't. So
I don't care that much.
Yeah, but anyways, long story short, people just need to see this movie. And
they
just watch it.
I feel like this is every movie we do. We're just like, you just need to see this.
Oh no! Are you talking and Wonder Woman 2?
Oh,
no, don't
forget about Wonder Woman 2.
That's a doo-doo factor. Don't watch Wonder Woman. Yeah,
no,
there's
no reason to watch that.
No, there wasn't.
Oh, I did also. I forgot to mention. I watched The Mummy again.
Oh, you did? Classic film.
Such a good movie.
So good. Brandon Fraser.
They have all of those on HBO Max.
And what's her name is
a fox.
The hottest chick.
Yeah. What is her name? Who was that?
I can't remember.
I can't either.
I don't know.
I would know if I had seen that movie recently, but I can't think of who it is.
I don't know if I've
trying
ever
to call
known
me
her
out
name.
here because
I
saw
wasn't going to say that, but, if you want to say
Anyways,
it, we'll call
it's
it.
a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I've been
So
meaning
good.
to go back and watch them as well because it's
They're
classic.
great.
HBO, they
They're
have them
great.
as like
It's like the Mummy collection.
They also have the Scorpion.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably in there.
It
it's in
is.
the collection. Yeah.
Collection.
Collection.
You have said so many words today. I'm very proud of you.
Very
you.
original.
Look, I am great at words.
You are.
I'm like a wordsmith.
You are a wordsmith, the best at words.
Yeah.
It's those homeschool education. It really shines.
Top quality.
I can't wait to see it in my children when they are
This is
achieving
the future.
adults, and it's the future right here. You're looking
are
at
the
the
future.
You are the future.
That's what Michael Jackson sang about.
He did.
The kids are the future.
Well,
you know?
us, our public school idiots clearly aren't. So we're destroying the planet one by one.
Obviously.
Yep.
So, we're to blame.
It's fine.
You guys will save us once with all your
One day.
words.
Thank you. We will.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it up. This was really fun, and we got another one on the books. It looks like the camera's still recording, so you'll see us on the YouTubes. And, man, this has been a good one. It was fun. It's exciting to get this kind of surprise, and I will say that our concept of just coming in unsullied, no trailers, knowing nothing.
Came in clutch again.
Every time we do it, I love it more and more. Like, I'm just so, it's just, even if we were to not do this podcast, I don't think I would change this just not knowing now. I just going in blind to things as much as possible. So, I don't know. I hope that people that listen,
at least try to start adopting this if they can. Because it does make the movie viewing experience so much better.
It does. I feel like this is the kind of thing, if more people would do it, if they would get away from the trailers, if they would get away from looking at what the critics have to say, it would cause ripples with what people enjoy and what they watch.
It affects every genre of movie too. Like whether it's a kid movie, it's horror, drama, comedy. Like this one was literally marketed as a romance drama. Like
for sure.
In my mind, for me personally, how I perceived this movie.
More words.
I was going to say perspective and perceived, so it was perpeived. How I perceived this movie, it was just heartbreaking. So, yeah, I completely agree. I hope people actually go into things with their own understanding and use their own judgment in things rather than just blindly trusting critics or reviews or whatever.
For sure. Because not a lot of people have seen this, and if they see that number, they're just not going to watch it.
Right.
Oh, yeah, for
They're
sure.
going to be like, oh, this is garbage. It got a 20 or whatever.
29,
Yeah, that's just so brutal.
Crazy.
By the way, I won this week, guys. If y'all didn't notice that, I made the best guess.
Hey, do you remember how many times I brought that up when I won for the past 5 times?
You should. If you were smart, you would. But clearly.
Obviously, I'm homeschooled, so
well,
I'm not
I
smart.
beat both you guys, and I haven't won in at least 6 weeks. So try topping that.
True.
There you go.
Next week.
Yeah, so
next week.
We do send-off songs at the end of every episode.
It's true.
And this week we will do another send-off song, which is basically each of us give a song at the end of the week. And we have a playlist as well. I think I talked about it earlier. And now the playlist is coming together on YouTube. And I think we're going to start a second playlist, a season 2 or year 2, whatever we'll call it, playlist. Yeah. And so definitely check those out. I'll have the links to the playlist in the either, show notes for YouTube or... And actually, it's really easy to find on YouTube because all you have to do is scroll over to playlist versus hunting us down on Spotify. Yeah. But you got to use YouTube, and
it's fantastic.
It's YouTube.
You have to keep it open the whole time.
Garbage. Anyways,
True.
All right.
Is bad.
So, Chris, what do you have?
I have a song called "Young Adult."
Okay.
By Ritt Momney.
Okay.
It's a fantastic name for a band.
It is really good. I like that.
Very good. It's categorized as a pop band.
Okay.
I would not categorize it as a pop band.
Okay.
Indie pop. I would even say that a lot of their songs, I've listened to a good bit of their songs. Well, I say a good bit, but 5 or 6 of them, to where it gives off vibes of who's the guy from Elton John. So it's got Elton John, Piano Man, also vibes of it's got the singular instrument and musician kind of vibe to it.
Okay.
So, but this one is different from that. It's a duet. There's multiple instruments.
Yeah.
So, I always am terrible at like advocating for these bands, and I know I do a bad job of it because I'm just like, good music. Listen, ear hole, insert music.
Yeah.
But for this, like, it is indie pop, but it's good. I would say all those other things I said about it would contribute to it. So
nice.
That's it.
Okay, cool. Matt, what you got?
This week, it's a song called Sing Along by Robert Ellis.
Okay.
And so this is more of like a bluegrass country kind of song, and it's for whatever reason a song I just can't stop listening to.
Oh, that's what I like to hear.
Country roads, take me home.
I'm excited. I want to check this out for sure. So I kind of have like an interesting one. I have 3 songs by this band, and I'm curious. Matt and I tend to we hover around the same TikTok worlds, and so we tend to see things that each other see. So I stumbled into this band, and the problem is that I am not going to be able to tell you the name of the band accurately. So these guys, I think they're maybe Swedish or something. They're foreign. They're not
offended.
Yep, they're not primarily English speaking, but the name of the band is AnnenMayKentereit.
Okay, you just summoned an undead Egyptian. Like,
right.
There's
Look
a
at
mummy.
this. You say that name any other way.
AnnenMayKentereit.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's accurate.
Yep. So, yeah, it
You
is
did a good job.
Yeah.
Right? I did my best.
As I think that I said it
Yes.
right.
So,
You did a good job. Yeah, that was pretty accurate.
Just look it up. I'll say that. And it's all one word. It's not
It'll
even...
be in our...
like,
you don't have to look it up. It'll be in our...
We're not going to spell it out for
try
you.
and type that in. I'm not going to tell you about
Yep.
it.
Phonetically, guys.
Yeah.
Phonetically.
So...
Hooked on Bahonics. Just use that.
So I ended up hearing a song from these guys, and I actually can't even remember what the song was that they covered because they don't have it on their Spotify or anywhere. It was just like they released it on TikTok, and it kind of blew up a little bit. And people were like, "This is it was the Police. It was Roxanne.
Oh.
Did you see this, man?
No, but where you were going with it.
It's the Police.
It's a fantastic cover of Roxanne. I mean, it's so good.
Yeah.
And so I was like, who are these guys? I need to know more. Looked in the comments, found their name, went down the rabbit hole. So even their regular music is very, very good, but it is not. Most of their stuff is not in English, but they do have a couple covers. They have an excellent cover of a Beatles song. They did a live cover of Come Together. So I'll go ahead and recommend that.
Okay.
Because it's so good. But they did another song, actually, Tom's Driver.
How many are you recommending?
I'm not recommending
It's like all of them.
Yeah.
It's their whole record.
We've done 2, maybe once each.
I'm not recommending all their songs. You know,
you literally just said I recommend
3 recommendations.
Just that one is all.
No, that's cool.
Well, so remember that song in the 90s that was like do 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 do.
Yeah, Dido.
It is Dido. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's called. I think it's
pictures
called.
on.
It's called Tom's Driver. I think is that's what their version's called. They cover it. It's really good. But Come Together was their best. But even there, I was just getting at like
what's that white guy's name who redid it with? It was Dido. Eminem. Thank you.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Stan. It was
he
part
wrote.
of Stan.
I'm writing you this letter.
Yeah.
That's
a good point. I forgot that was that song. Well, they do a cover of the actual song and the original, and it's actually really good. So I'd say just check these guys out. It's just
so which one do you put on the playlist?
So I'm putting Come Together on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
I'm
one?
putting Come Together. The Beatles.
Okay.
It's live, but it's so good. So and I've been listening to some of their other stuff. It's just not in English.
If it's live and good, I'm gonna like the band,
it's
even
brilliant.
if I don't.
Yeah, because that's the tricky thing.
Yeah.
Finding a band.
And that TikTok song was even live, and that's why I was like, dude, if this is that good live, and it wasn't even like a live show,
TikTok.
it was them singing under like a bridge, and it was just, I was like, this is
in a
beautiful.
van down by the river.
Maybe beside a van that I couldn't see. They were filming from it under this bridge. I don't know, maybe.
Got it.
So, anyways, all right, that's the thing. Come
Cool.
Together remake.
Cool.
I'll put it. It'll be on the
5
playlist.
songs later.
So what are we doing next week?
We'll
Do we
figure
know
it out.
yet?
We
No,
don't know
okay.
yet.
Look, we like keeping people on their toes.
Stay on their toes. Just look out for
because
next
it could be Space Sweeper. right?
Yeah,
Oh,
it could
yeah,
be
yeah,
Space
yeah.
Sweeper. Yeah.
Or if something else pops up.
Yeah. We'll look and see what's going on. It could be Space Sweeper.
I know you'd like Space Sweeper.
I think you would too. From the
I think that you'd like Space
dislike
Sweeper
it.
as well.
yeah.
But,
I think I was
we
going
might.
to watch it today, and then I got distracted. And then I got so distracted, didn't even watch the Bliss. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we will. We'll look into that Space Sweeper.
Did we even mention Bliss last week? I feel like
No.
we didn't.
No,
It wasn't
we
even
didn't,
out
because
yet.
I didn't know it existed.
So surprise.
yeah, we literally
Next
didn't even
week,
know.
it's going to be something
So-
you've never heard of as well.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Quite possibly. So, all right. Well, cool. Well, that's basically everything. Check out our playlist. Also, subscribe, like all that stuff. We definitely need to say it now that we're on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
You know, definitely like and subscribe.
Yeah, please support so we can
Yeah.
keep on. So we know that you guys are out there.
Yeah, we know that you're there. You're listening and all this fun stuff. So definitely do those things, and we will. We'll see you. We'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Also, special thanks to Aubrey Troutman for doing our logo and all that fun stuff. And I'll go ahead and say special thanks to David Troutman for our audio, even though he's probably not doing it this week. It might be me for once.
Yeah.
So we'll still thank you for all of
R.I.P.
your hard work and time. Yep. R.I.P. Office Maid.
Pouring
Peace out,
one out.
homie.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's off making guitars and stuff these days. So who knows what he's doing with his
Crafty
life. Yep.
bastard.
And for Ketsa Music, thank you for doing our intro and outro song. Thank you, Ketsa Music.
Yeah.
So definitely check out them, Ketsa Music on the web. Their website is just ketsamusic.com. It's KETSA. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for hanging in there. I know this was a long one, but it was a fun one, and we were all excited to talk about it. So we'll be back next week as usual, and love you guys. Thanks. Peace.
Later.
Deuces. DJ Diddles? I gotta pee so fucking bad.
You can leave.
My urethra is like the size of your anus.
Which is gaping. Gaping.
Oh, I know.